All right, guys, before we begin, I would like to give a very necessary disclaimer. If you're not old enough to watch Harley Quinn or you're offended by sharp curse words or crude humor, avert your ears. Maybe check out our regular DC Comics News podcast where the humor is wholesome and all of our content is much more PG. So with that out of the way, hello, Arkham inmates, Legion of Doomers, assorted superheroes. This is Mad Love, the Harley Quinn podcast, episode 2.
3, 2, 1.
And I'm your host, Kelly Gaines, here with my mischievous band of co-hosts. We have Brad Filicky. Brad, say hello.
Hello, everyone.
And Seth Singleton. Seth?
I'm here, but I have dark thoughts. I'll keep them to myself. Hello.
Seth with dark thoughts. That's interesting.
Good evening, citizens.
And we also have a brand new member of the team, proud Harley Quinn reviewer for our sister site, Dark Knight News, Kendra Hale. How are you, Kendra?
I'm good, thank you. Hi, guys.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the madness.
Hello there. Hello.
Hi, Kendra.
And so today we're talking about the second episode of season 1 of Harley Quinn. It's called A High Bar. And in this episode, we see Harley pretty immediately post-breakup crash a bar mitzvah. So right off the bat, guys, who was your favorite character of the episode?
For me, it's a tie between Bane and Kite-Man. I like them both.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Kite-Man, he has like all of the misguided enthusiasm of a college freshman boy. Is the just the vibe I get off of him.
You can't help but like him.
Exactly. That's
And
what
poor
you think.
Bane.
Oh, Bane is tragic. Tragic Bane. Tragic, lovable Bane. Actually, I jumped right to Seth because I'm used to jumping to Seth, but Kendra, who was your favorite?
I think my favorite the first couple episodes, and especially this one, would have to be Poison Ivy, hands down.
Nice. Yeah, she is the friend everyone needs in a bad breakup. And Seth, what about you?
Yeah, when it comes to me, I'm looking at a three-way tie between Bane, Miss Cobblepot, to be honest, and Kite-Man. Because there's just something about the way she comes over and says, girls, can we put a little sugar on that salty language? Okay, Mrs. Cobblepot, okay, sorry, never again. Like, that was tantamount to just pure comedic brilliance. Just lovely stuff. So, yeah, I'm okay with my three-way, especially given the show I'm on.
Wait, and did you guys have, when you were kids, did you have like a fake voice that you used for other people's parents? Because I definitely did. Like the way Poison Ivy's voice just high pitches itself and she's like, oh yeah, sorry.
No, but
fake voice? Me?
Always. In fact, I was known for having something of an angelic smile as a child, so I had a few friends who would be like, you apologize, my mom can never get mad at you. And I'd be like, hi, I am so heartfelt in my just absolute sorrow, plumbing the depths. I really feel like I've brought shame upon us all. And it would be like, oh, you poor thing. I'm like, yes, thank you. Thank you. The Academy goes to. All right.
Now we know if we ever have to apologize to Josh for something, Seth, you're the apology voice guy. Oh, and Steve, so everyone in the show, who was your favorite this episode?
Well, I have to echo Seth with Mama Cobblepot because we all have one of those wonderful ladies in our family somewhere. But honestly, I'm torn again, like Brad said, between Tom Hardy, Bane, and our lovely friend. Hell yeah, Kite-Man. What a pair. Amazing. I from this episode onwards, I was in love with both of them. Superb.
Yeah, I think I've already told you guys, Bane is my favorite. He's just so adorable. And in every episode of this show, he says something that it's like, oh, this cute, adorable terrorist. He's like, he's going to blow up everything. And what's terrifying is that I'm kind of rooting for him, like a little bit. Just give Bane
He
one.
literally is wanting to blow up everything, isn't he? I'm going to blow up this bar mitzvah. I'm going to blow up the stadium.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to blow up Gotham Stadium. I'm going to blow up this bar mitzvah.
And I actually have a request for this episode. It's one of the small things I'm going to ask this time around. And for any and all who are game, go for it. But can I make this request and see who's willing to take up the challenge?
Uh-oh.
Definitely.
Sure.
Who is willing to try their Bane impression
Oh, God, no.
right now?
I vote for Steve.
He has such a lovely voice.
Let's see. If I had a few drinks, I could probably do a decent one. It's a very
Kendra,
throaty, like,
you willing?
half a cup stuck
No,
in
we
my
are
throat.
not. No, I'm not willing. No, not at all.
That's all right. So that's homework for next time. Everybody work on your Bane impressions.
Oh, jeez.
Bring back a good one. So, and actually, I think one of the things I always forget is in this episode, and when I see it, it's like, wow, Joker really did that, but they blow up Howie Mandel. He's gone in this universe, just as a catty repercussion of the Joker and Harley Quinn's breakup. If I would just, for the group, Brad, if you had a specific TV host that the Joker would have to blow up to get to you, would it be Howie Mandel? Who would it be?
Oh, man. Trying to think of a TV host. Now, are you thinking in terms of a TV host I don't like or one that I would not want to see blown up?
One that you'd be devastated.
Man, probably Stephen Colbert or Trevor Noah at this point. I mean, they're hosts of sort.
Very true. Very true. Kendra, what about you?
I don't know why, but Meredith Vera pops in my head. The lady who used to be the host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I don't know why, though. But that would be who I would want on there if we're going to go with, like, innocent cinnamon roll characters.
My question is, would she still be kind of calm and stern when it, like, just
I
that
think
demeanor
she'd, like, randomly come out of left field with, "Can I call a friend?" in the middle of the episode.
That's like a superpower at that point. That's what about you?
I'm gonna have to say it. If he had Jon Stewart, I would get on the phone in about 10 seconds. Jon Stewart's not hosting right now, I know, but I'm saying if I had to be worried about a host, Jon Stewart, like he could do a comeback, kind of like I've seen a couple guys do on like Netflix or something, and then suddenly there's Joker, like, I've got John, there's John, like, Seth, I don't even know who the hell you are, man. I mean, I don't know you, but this man will kill me, please. And that would be the moment that I would lose my shit and go, oh my God, we will lose a national treasure at this very moment, at this moment. So Jon Stewart, my friend, if you're out there and listening, which please, if you are, let us know, because I would enjoy that affirmation. But should you ever find yourself at the clutches of a nefarious villain or even a psychotic madman, I would do just about anything for you, John. And my wife might hear this, and I'm okay with that. In fact, anybody else who hears it, my, undying love for Jon Stewart is stated here, now, and forever. But, there's other people on this show, too.
Well, on that very lovely note, Steve, who would you need to save?
But Jon Stewart would be safe. He just uses power ring and he'll be well away and nothing could touch him. He'd just say in brightest day and blackest night.
Comic book Jon Stewart, I'm not worried about. That guy's going to be just fine. We've got an ex-military.
He'll be fine. Absolutely. See, I'm at a disadvantage because over here we don't have the same hosts on our shows that you do. But one I do think we do share, and this is actually one I would like to hand over to the Joker, would be Jeremy Kyle. And the reason for that is because he is the worst kind of scumbag journalist who only gets people on for sensationalism and to show how evil and horrible they are. So he gets my vote. Do you have him over there, or is he no longer anywhere? Because obviously his show got cancelled here because someone had decided to kill themselves after he ridiculed them on TV. So, ouch.
No, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In that case, Piers Morgan. You definitely know who he is.
Yeah.
I can say this on the show. Fuck him.
With Harley's baseball bat.
Oh, Lord. See, now you have me thinking of hosts that I don't like and I would gladly feed to him. Although, if for someone I would save, I'm thinking back to, like, 1990s Bob Saget and America's Funniest Home Video. That's who I would save. Bob Saget, he's still doing things. He's still out there. That or Jeff Goldblum's been hosting some great stuff for Disney Plus. So Jeff Goldblum too. In either case, Joker's done some kind of crazy stuff to get back at Harley since the breakup. And so far, the craziest thing Harley's done besides, beating up half a dozen goons would be crashing a bar mitzvah with a very particular exotic animal that I'm sure if you guys have been watching some Netflix, top 10 shows lately, we've all learned a lot about tigers recently. Does anyone have a solid takeaway from that entrance? Is there another animal that would have fit better, Brad?
These days, no. I think that the tiger was perfect. Especially rewatching the episode, I was like, oh man, yeah, that is definitely of the moment right now, for sure.
Right. And the Joker says anyone can buy a tiger, and I'm like, I now know that that's true. It's only $2,000.
It's been on my bucket list to play with a tiger or lion cub, and after watching Tiger King, I didn't realize, one, that it could be so easy, and two, that it could be so unethical. So I think I'm going to have to rethink this.
Yeah. That's the unfortunate part. They look adorable. They look like big little cats, but then, there's the ethics part, and there's the getting your arms and legs mauled off by wild creature part. Kendra, what about you? What would be your big entrance animal?
I mean, I miss Bud and Lou. I would have died if she came in with the two hyenas. But either way, that bar mitzvah feeling herself before she knew what it was that she was getting into. Like, she came in there like nobody's business. Nobody could tear her down until she realized exactly where it was that she had entered.
Like walking in a sequin top to a Chuck E. Cheese. Like, you just wrong. God, that's unfortunate. That would have been the perfect entrance for like in the Birds of Prey movie where we see that whole nightclub and all that that Black Mask owns. That would have been the entrance to have a tiger at. But sadly, this is Joshua's bar mitzvah, which, I mean, congratulations, he's becoming a man, but also not the place. That's what about you? What animal do you think?
I was tossing around a couple of ideas really quickly, and it just struck me at that moment. Koala. I want to see her walking in, carry a koala on one arm, and do the same swashay. And then as she does, the koala also wearing sunglasses, like do the same sort of like glamour look, right? But then I want to see teeth and claws. Like, that's right, I'm cute, but I'll fuck you up. Because koalas, man. Everybody goes with cute. Nobody talks about the, I mean, I'm just saying, koala bear. Think about it. Okay, you're with me. All right, I'm done. I'm out.
Steve, what about you?
Oh, koalas, and they're also carriers of chlamydia. So, listen, be careful who you're finger banging at the summer camp, especially if you've got a koala with you, because that could be absolutely deadly. Ouch. Yes. For me, and this is just the way my brain works, the animal I would have to take in with me would be not a, but the Tasmanian Devil. Love that guy. And how psychic are the Harley Quinn writers that they foresaw Tiger King months ago when this show first aired. Geniuses, I tell you. Geniuses. What about you, Kay?
There's a little part of me that feels like someone on that writing staff had at some point in time met or seen coverage of, I don't even remember his name apart from the dude with the mullet and all the tigers, but they have to have seen him and just known, like, this is the thing you do when you're crazy and you're about to do something crazy. I don't know. I mean, a tiger's a good one. Personally, I would love to have a wolf. Although I could also see the whole, like, Britney Spears python thing being really cool, too. Snakes weren't terrible, but yeah, wolf. I'm going to go with wolf. That is the one.
Good answer. I used to be a werewolf, but I'm all right now.
How do they even fix something like that? Is there a new, God, what is it? Cure besides silver bullet?
Tea.
Patience. The thing that kills me about this is the fact that I was not aware of Tiger King before, seeing the first season, and I'm fully aware of the fact that the thing that I immediately was drawn to was, wow, doesn't Mike Tyson have one of those and the guys steal it in Hangover?
Yeah.
So I thought they were paying a little homage to that, because this is where I can out myself. I still haven't seen Tiger King. My wife and I keep looking at you like, are we going to pull the trigger on this or what? Like, is it just fucking happening? But both of us just have kind of been like, no, we're just, I don't know. There's like a wave of media hype and we're either in front of it or behind it, but we're not currently on it. Yeah. What can I say? Hangover's where I went to, especially given the mentality of the show.
I
don't need a Tiger King
now. If that draws you in, they brought in a brand new episode.
Did they really?
Oh yeah.
It's really weird because it's not anything to do with like the way that they did it with the reality show feel. It's literally a guy from the 90s who I can't place doing interviews with some of the cast from the show, and that's what they gave us like 3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah, Joel McHale. And,
oh wow, soup.
Yeah, but it's very awkward because it's still the social distancing thing. So it's like phoned in interviews. So there's no laugh track or anything like that. So jokes kind of fall flat, and the interviews are really bizarre. It's worth watching, but it is very awkward.
So to those of you who've actually watched Tiger King, I just have to ask you one question. Is it great?
I would say.
You walk away in a stunned silence.
Yeah.
That's my takeaway. Just what in the world is happening? If I didn't live in the U.S., I would be like, what is wrong with that country?
Yeah.
All you know is that Carol Baskins did it. That's it. That's what you walk away with.
Oh, for sure.
What? She had all the ice cream.
What?
Oh, collaborated with Rob.
Available.
I like it. What a twisted thing.
Carol Baskins. That is my whole takeaway from the show. That's all you need to know, Seth. Just Carol Baskins. That's it.
Carol Baskins. Okay.
Carol Baskins.
And Ezekiel is the true Tiger King anyway. King Ezekiel forever.
Yeah. There was a meme
back
that
into
said, sorry,
into the whole tiger crashing bar mitzvah shtick, essentially. So I'm always really impressed that Harley walks in and actually has the Legion of Doom going for a second until the Joker comes in and messes everything up because they have to act cool. I mean, where did you guys land on that? Did you think they're kind of putting on a front just to be, I don't know, Joker's boys, essentially? Brad, what do you think?
I think it's Joker's reputation precedes him. One of the things, and I think I mentioned this last week, one of the things that I like about the cartoon so much is Joker to me is one of the least interesting characters, and kind of one of in a lot of ways one of the weakest characters. Whereas in comics and in movies and things like that, Joker is like the apex and very charismatic. And this is just not that type of Joker. He's very insecure, but he still has that kind of reputation that precedes him, so people kind of fall in line.
Sure. That's interesting. So he's basically the undeservedly pompous asshole.
Yeah. Exactly.
Kendra, what about you? What is your impression of Legion of Doom after seeing this episode?
The guys that make up the Legion of Doom, at least the core ones that they give us, I mean, they're this mismatched hodgepodge of people. They're like the island of misfit toys that, became a democracy. And it doesn't matter whether Joker is a jerk to them or he's an asshole to them, because you see that several times. They still stand his back, even though there are some times where you'll see, like Bane, he starts to stand up for himself a little bit because they'll see the light that Harley kind of shines. But overall, it's a boys' club. They close ranks, and it's misguided. I like what he said when he was talking about how they kind of follow Joker based on this misconception that he is the be all end all of what a villain should be. But I do like that you get to see his hard fall in this one.
Yeah, very
nice.
True. Actually, with Bane standing up for himself, that is like, I rooted for him so hard when he's like, you didn't even want to come to this stupid thing, and you took my beef, and clearly I wanted the beef. Like, Bane just needs something.
Right, because Joker sits there and he's like, my chicken's rubbery. Here, let me take yours. And then Bane's like, well, all right, we'll trade. And then he's just like, no, it's mine too. I might want it later. And then you just hear the depression in Bane's voice as he's just like, but I kind of wanted that.
I really think this is why Bane is blowing things up so much. It's this repressed need to just be noticed.
He just wants love. That's all he wants is some love.
Well, I hope somewhere deep down he knows that we love him, that he's managed to, by some miracle, be the breakout star of this show. What about you, Seth? Where's your Legion of Doom opinion at this point?
It's fairly confident that these are guys who, are scary in their own right, but they recognize, like, I love that old quote, what do the villains do when they want to scare themselves? They tell Joker stories. Like, sure, Harley comes in smooth. I mean, she gets everybody going. She gets Bane. Why? There's something about Bane where I swear to God now, whenever somebody tells me something I don't want to hear, I just want to respond with, why? Why? It's just so easy to, like, just go into that, you're evil. Like, it's I mean, at the very beginning when he's like, your idle gossip distracts me. You're like, there's a part of me that just sort of dives into that. But the way she came in smooth, like, just sort of like, hey, what's going on? I like how everybody's looking, and then Two-Face is like, yeah, hey, we haven't seen you in a while. Where you been? She's like, on your left side where you can't see shit. And she's got that really great give and play where she's totally, like, hey, I know how to work it. And not only that, but there's something about the crazy guy's crazy partner, guy or girl, it doesn't matter. But when you got someone as twisted as the Joker, and then you got the person who was with them, like in a love, not so healthy, gross, oh my God relationship. I mean, it's like, for a moment, this is probably wrong of me, but I thought of, like, Kurt Cobain was like an amazing musician, and Courtney Love scared the shit out of people. At least it was my opinion as I was coming up. Like, you love this genius. She scared you. Well, imagine if instead you've got crazy guy and the crazy partner. Like, there's something horrifying to them as well about her until the really scary guy, Joker, walks in. So up until that moment, she's got it. She's got banter. She's got quips. She could have worked it until Joker showed up, because nobody scares the shit out of him like Joker. Like, just nobody does. You can just see the look on their face like, oh God, is he boiling someone I love right now just because I'm at this table talking to her? Oh, sweet God. And That's just, for me, I suddenly was going all the way back to a revenge sequence with a pot and a bunny, and well, you just shouldn't make some people angry. But there's that fear. You could just see like, yeah, she's got the play and she's cool and she's crazy and she's his crazy. But then when the real crazy guy shows up, that's who scares you. That's who you snap in line for. And they're so used to being bullied by him. It's just like, as soon as the alpha walks in the room, the other dogs just tuck their tails and start, show the belly, submit, don't hurt me. That was my take.
That's that is, yeah. And I actually love that image, that like a dog rolling on their back, like, show my stomach, I'm good, I'm fine, we're cool.
We good, bro?
This is the room of the most terrifying villains in Gotham, and they're, oh yeah, you can have my chicken, you can have the beef, you can have whatever you want. That's messed up. Steve, what do you think?
It's really cool because they don't take away from the Joker's scare factor, and everyone knows he's crazy, and anyone knows he can turn on a dime and possibly kill them all. But I like the way they pull him down a peg or two as well, and the way Harley and Ivy walk in with the tiger, they just own the room. And watching it again is now when I realize that Ivy is awesome from the get-go. The way she actually takes out the Legion more than Harley ever does, and the plants come up and they're terrifying, and she can actually feed all of these fuckers to Frank if she wanted to, and he just use their bones to pick his teeth. It would be incredible. So I honestly think the Legion of Doom are great, and the characters and the voices they've picked to play them are amazing. But if anyone's a force to be reckoned with, it's Harley and Ivy. You go, girls. Oh, they're my Legion of Doom. What about you, Kelly?
Yeah, I think, again, it's just stunning to think of, these are the characters that at one point or another we've read a story or seen a movie where they are the big thing. They're this scary, terrifying monster. And the fact that they're all sitting around this little table at a bar mitzvah, just kind of saying, oh, yes, sure, whatever, to the king of the, I mean, I've called him a frat boy in the last episode, so the king of the frat, or whatever it is that they call it, it's such an interesting way to look at it. And it doesn't feel like, it doesn't feel clunkily written in the sense that it's subtle. You realize kind of slowly throughout the course of the show, and at this point by this episode, even though it's only episode 2, that the whole dynamic in the Legion of Doom is shitty and stupid and not, it's not necessarily a healthy work relationship I'm talking about like healthy work-life balance with the Legion of Doom, but it's not necessarily a healthy work relationship for anyone who's around the Joker. I mean, from his girlfriend to his henchmen to his colleagues, he's just a jerk. Like, he's just terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm making the claim for a toxic workplace environment.
Right? If there was an HR at Legion of Doom, which apparently there is because Bane goes to them, which we'll see in a couple of episodes. Their HR department's not doing enough, I think. That's the moral of the story here.
Let's be honest here as well, though, that the Legion of Doom is a group of men. And I'm sorry, boys, but I have to say it because it's true. Men can't organize shit. One guy by himself is intelligent. 2 guys together, they start getting silly. And it gets more and more exponential. The more men you add to the room, we all turn into children. We all start play fighting with each other and telling stupid jokes and being generally teenage dickheads. And these are teenage dickheads with superpowers and complexes and criminal insanity and everything else that goes with it. Harley and Ivy are going to wipe the floor with all of them. Sorry, boys, but those are the facts.
You don't see a lot of stable guys dressing up as a scarecrow. I'll go ahead and admit to that. Yeah, I'll cop to that. Like, yeah, it takes a certain sort of mentality. So no, these are not the right old, set on their ways lads. They're just a bit, insecure to begin with, and then you gave them powers, and then you put them all together, and then exactly shit show. I mean.
And that just reminded me, I had a friend in high school who used to wear a chicken suit just for fun. And I wonder what he's doing now. in either case, yeah, Harley and Ivy are.
I know what happened to him, Kelly. I know what happened to him. He
What
saw
happened?
someone else in a chicken suit, and they ran at each other full tilt, but no one veered off, so they crashed into each other, and they both died.
Oh, tragic case of chicken
That's
gone bad.
mental image. Oh God, he was a terrible runner too. Poor guy. But
I'm scared to think
I
of what
rest
the
my
inside
case.
of that chicken suit would smell like. I mean, there's got to be a funk at some point. I don't care if it's rubber, cloth, vinyl. There's gonna be some human, presence left behind.
you know those yellow chicken
Thanks,
suits
Seth.
that were a thing.
You're welcome.
It was one of those real fluffy yellow ones that you would see like, I don't know. I feel like I've seen it in an old wedding video of one of my parents' friends that they did the chicken dance and someone actually came out in this like yellow and red chicken suit. But it was one of those.
I want to see a video of that wedding. God damn it. I go to the wrong weddings all the fucking time. You got to be kidding me with that shit. A chicken suit at a wedding? What? Who? All right. I
It
need
had
an
to have been a favor.
Kel, I just need to be your +1 to one of these events. I don't give a shit how we do it, but God damn it, I'm bringing a video camera. This is happening. Chicken.
That's some
Oh.
weird.
Yeah, you know what, Kelly? You're the only one who can bring us back on track whenever you want to do it, but right now we're going at chicken suit, so word.
Hi everyone, I'm here to tell you about the DC Comics News Podcast. Here every week to talk everything DC. Movies, TV, comics, and everything in between. But don't just take my word for it. Here are a couple of our sponsors. Listen to the DC Comics News Podcast. It's audio justice. No. It's audio chaos. These wackos are crazier than I am. Well, maybe you're both right. Regardless, you can catch us on every kind of podcast platform. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and everywhere you find great podcasts. So, can I go now? Let him go. He did everything you asked. No.
This is Seth Singleton from DC Comics News, here to tell you about the Spinner Rack. Each and every week, DC Comics publishes so many great books, it can be hard to decide where to invest your time and money. And that's where the Spinner Rack comes in. The Spinner Rack is my honest attempt to rate, review, score the top 5 books from DC Comics each and every week. How can you listen? It's easy. All you have to do is go to your favorite platform, subscribe to DC Comics News Podcasts, and wait for the new episode to load up. Join me each and every week as I sift through the best from DC Comics and pick my top 5 books. Can't wait to share them with you and to hear your scores when you share them with us, right here on the DC Comics News Podcast.
First, there was the DC Comics News Podcast. Then came the Spinner Rack. And now, the third show brought to you by the guys that brought you all that other stuff I just mentioned. I Am the Night. A story about the stories. A show celebrating Batman, the animated series. Week by week, episode by episode. Just when you thought it was safe to put on a pair of headphones. I Am the Night.
That's amazing. All right, so we've gotten past the tigers and the chickens. Moving on into the other kind of terrifying animal, young teenage boys. Poison Ivy has a terrible night. She has a terrible night in most of these episodes, but she has a particularly terrible night in this episode, thanks to Kite-Man.
Hell yeah.
Just, on a whole, who gives a strange liquid to a bunch of strangers' children for fun? I mean, Brad, how do you defend Kite-Man? How does Kite-Man plead?
I think that maybe that was his low point. I think he's redeemed himself since then, but it was like a long build back up. that he can really defend.
Kendra, what about you?
I was gonna say, I think his low point is when he's just like naked in their apartment.
Oh,
But
that's true, yeah.
I mean, yeah, giving her love potion to some preteens is not the bestest of ideas ever.
This man does not know how to. The fact that he thought it was a date in the first place is insane. But then to think, all right, so you see a woman at a bar mitzvah and feed a bunch of children some liquid you got off of her, just, I don't know, to be romantic. Go back to her apartment to save those children, and then get naked because this is a date and clearly you're going to have sex. Everything about his logic, I stand by my statement earlier that this is what it was like being a freshman in college. Just misguided enthusiasm. You're so excited to go, but you don't know where you're going.
But he makes her character so much better. Like, I know this is a little bit of a segue, but I love the interactions with her and Kite-Man because Ivy, Lake Bell, bless her heart, she has done things that you would never see in any other realm aside from the Harley Quinn animated universe. Because for her, I mean, it's a drinking game. How many times she's going to say, for fuck's sake, calling out her cohort.
Yes.
Now, that might be a game we all have to play.
That or how many times Harley breaks something with a bat. Those are the drinking games.
Starting with the big screen TV.
Either.
Yeah, that poor TV.
And that phone.
And yeah, right. She smashes everything that pisses her off, which I see where the attraction for Joker was, at least. But I mean, and actually, I think my favorite part of this episode is, Ivy saying, "All right, so what are you doing? What are we gonna do?" And Harley's like, I just logged into Joker's calendar, and she's like, okay, we're off the rails. I think everyone has been that friend watching someone go through a breakup, and we've also been the crazy friend too. But I am off kilter. Seth, do you defend Kite-Man? This is order in the court.
I will say this. We all mispronounced idiot. It's genius is what we were all meaning to say. We just mispronounced it, which has to be one of my favorite responses by him when she's like, "You idiot!" And he's like, you mispronounced genius." Yeah. I can defend Kite-Man because of what Kendra just so artfully laid out, which was brilliant. I mean, I think, unfortunately, yes, Kelly, he does have the enthusiasm, but clearly this is not something he's, a stranger to. Take the girl's strange liquid, poison some kids, or, make them in love with her, whatever, poison. And then afterwards go to the antidote, and then while there, seduce the woman at your place, which maybe either worked or never worked, and he just keeps trying. I don't know. But this all felt like his sort of, hey, gonna make a big mess. Then the girl's gotta help me out. And then, yeah. And it didn't play out at all. There's just sad Kite-Man, But to go back to something others have mentioned, his lowest point, I'm gonna go with the part, at least, for this one, despite many other things that happen in the episode, being called a kite fucking freak, like that has to sort of just, that's not quite cricket. That's got to hit you below the belt just a bit. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, it's like last episode making the claim that Batman fucks bats. Like, I feel like you kind of taking the guy's thing and then making, a sexual thing out of his identity. The guy likes kites. Doesn't mean he has to fuck him. And if he does fuck him, it doesn't make him a bad guy. I mean, let love be love. There should be more love, right? All right. So as far as Kite-Man goes, he's not a genius. What's that?
I said you can love your kites. Just don't love your kites.
Yeah.
Well said.
That reminds me of the old, what was that? The Truth About Cats and Dogs.
Yeah.
Where she's like, so you're talking about a tongue bath with your dog? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, how long do those last? He's like, 3 or 4 hours. Why? I get all these relts afterwards. She's like, yeah, there's a difference between loving your pet and loving. Yeah, thank you, Brad. That was hot. Way to bring it back. Wait for that Janine Garofalo moment. Let's work in a couple of those. Just, hey, guys. Boom. Mic drop. Brad smacks it down. I love it. Let's continue, shall we?
Steve, do you have anything for Kite-Man?
I both want to defend him and give him a good shake at the same time because, so many low points. Bless his heart. I mean, the stripping down in the apartment was bad enough, but then the poor guy gets dropped through a skylight, lands like a pretzel. I don't even want to think about how many broken bones he has, and all because he wants a date with Ivy, and it's just fantastic. But the best part of it is throughout the whole thing, Ivy is so deadpan and like, oh, for fuck's sake, this guy, please just get him away from me. But she even starts to melt a little bit where they're flying over the park. She's actually succumbing to his incredibly awful charms. I mean, I was socially awkward, but seriously, I would want this guy as a wingman when I was a teenager because he would make me look like an absolute freaking superstar. What a guy to have with you. So, bless you, Kite-Man. Hell yeah. What about you, Kelly? How do you defend this man?
You know what, Seth, you put an idea in my head that because the whole time we're thinking
dark thoughts. I warned you, dark thoughts.
It's the hive mind seeping in. But was this actually a plan? Did he know who Poison Ivy was the whole time, and did he know that we're gonna have to go back to her place if I poison these kids? Because he's at a party for villains, right? Like he's with the Legion of Doom, so there has to be something that makes him evil, which might mean that he's willing to poison some kids to get laid. I mean, what do you guys think? Is that crazy?
That's genius.
Yeah. Man, I want to like that character a little more, and I think that if he would do that, I wouldn't like him as much. So I want to say no.
Fair. Well, this is Seth. You put this conspiracy theory in my head. So as we move forward, and I start picking up clues that aren't there, you are to blame.
I'm fine with that because I have no problem saying, yeah, this is exactly what he might have been thinking as frat boy, bro. He's just like hottest girl I've ever seen. How do I make the best move? Oh my God, this is this poison stuff. Got it. Poison kids have to get an antidote. Make the move. And I'm not saying it's beautiful. I'm not saying it's brilliant, but I'm sure at the end of it, he was like, A plus B equals yes, score. Kite-Man, hell yeah. And I'm that's about as far as he thought it out. Like A, B, yes, mine. And yeah, I could really see him going with that just sort of spontaneity.
Oh God. Is this, I have to wonder, and Kendra, I'm so glad there's another girl on the show because sometimes things come up, and in this episode specifically, I mean, guys, really, is this how plans are formulated? If you see a girl you like, or when you were in high school, college, if you had a crush on somebody, was it really just that narrow of a plan where it's like, this will do this and that's all that matters?
Nope.
I had a friend, a really sad friend who would always make a plan. He would see a girl and then he would point to the rest of us around him and be like, okay, how the rest can you humiliate yourself so I can look amazing and try and get this girl's attention? And then, I've got it from there. And you're just sitting there going, how do you know she's looking at you? And he just look at everybody and go, who else is she looking at? And you're like, this is our friend. This is our guy. Because as far as he was concerned, they were all in love with him and he was in love with them all. And I learned a lot of what never to do just by watching and listening and paying attention. It's like one of your friends has like, that early marriage, not so great idea. We met, we got married 3 days later, and you're like, wow, I'm learning a lot from you of what never to do when it comes to any of this relationship stuff. Yeah, he was the guy. Like, so yeah, they're out there. Ladies, be careful. Men, be careful. People, be careful. I've seen them at work. They're not pretty. They think they are, and that's the danger for you.
Think all of your plans through. Things that you do cause other things that happen. That is, boy or girl, that is the most important thing to remember. Especially, and coming off of that, relationship-wise, we know that Poison Ivy is deep down meant for someone else. Can you guys think of anyone else in the DC universe that would be a good fit for Kite-Man when the inevitable loss happens, Brad?
Oh, man, you're catching me off guard with these questions. Maybe Polka Dot.
I've been thinking about this all day.
Kelly's got a plan.
Yeah, maybe Polka Dot Man, Killer Moth.
Killer Moth, I love it.
They both can fly, kind of.
All right, fair enough. Seth, what about you? Or wait, Seth, I skipped Kendra. Darn it, Kendra.
Come on, I'm not doing that. Don't make me complicit.
Because I think Kay is Kelly, and I'm at the end, so then clearly Kendra's at the end with Kelly, but no, Kendra.
I'm trying not to laugh on air. I'm so sorry. No, I mean, if we're gonna go way out of left field, I'd put him with Squirrel Girl.
Oh, I like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
I think they'd get along. It'd be like Rocket and Groot.
That's all right. So crossing comics here too. All right. So crossing the whole universe of comics. Death.
Well, now that's a much bigger playpen in which to bounce around and spring off of those bouncy, cool sort of accordion walls they have. I was stuck in DC, and to be honest, actually, going back to my old 90s Justice League, the only person I knew who could handle a hothead, or at least one who could use some cooling down, was Ice. I mean, she did an amazing job on Guy Gardner. So I really think she's got that sweet-natured sort of like, oh, Kite-Man, blush, frosted down a little bit, and sort of done. So that was my original. I'm sure I can come up with someone, as we continue through I think this should be a recurring question. I'm not putting any pressure on future hosts, but Kelly, I think you've come on to a good one. Episode by episode, who can we possibly see? The more we see of Kite-Man, who can we see being his opposite when he eventually blows it with Ivy? Because it's just doomed. But yeah, for right now, I'm sticking with Ice. I'm good with it. I'm not going to try and stretch my brain anymore because it's small and it doesn't like it. Steve?
Interesting. It's funny, actually, Seth, because you were thinking Ice. I was thinking Killer Frost for very similar reasons.
Lovely.
Then the mighty Kendra threw a gigantic spanner into the works by introducing a Marvel character. So I have to pair him with the other shit gimmick character from the Marvel universe, Stiltman. What a pair. OMFG. Bang. Can you imagine?
Oh, they take their love to new heights. That's beautiful.
Listen, your dark mind is spreading. You're spreading the dark thoughts into my brain. Singleton is. Oh, Kendra. Okay, sorry, see, I've lost my fucking mind. Kelly,
this is why I mix up you and Seth all the time. I think S.
Warning, I'm insidious. My dark thoughts are spreading.
Well, I think initially I was going to go with actually, I mean, she might be a little young, but Mish, we are messing up all the letters. Miss Martian. Just off from Young Justice, she's so enthusiastic and cute and talks to herself in third person, just like Kite-Man. So she would be like, hello, Megan, and he would be like, Kite-Man, hell yeah.
Now I just
we all know he likes green skin.
This is
true. See, I like it.
Right.
Wow.
It's like one of those terrible dating shows, but with DC characters. We just have to keep the bracket going. And actually, if I'm going outside of DC, I would say this is one I haven't read in a while, but from Image, have any of you guys read Bomb Queen?
Oh, it's been a while, but yeah.
That's I could see them being a good mix because he just wants to admire somebody, and all she wants is to be admired and, murder.
Sounds like a love story waiting to be told.
The match made in supervillain heaven. Although I still don't see how Kite-Man's a supervillain yet. I assume we're going to get there. But in any case, he and Ivy are off on their escapades. Harley is having some unfortunate escapades of her own back at the Bar Mitzvah. I mean, did you guys cringe at just the overall teen awkwardness of watching poor Joshua try to not only assert that he had finger banged somebody, but not be able to explain it while pointing a gun at someone tied to a chair in front of all of his friends and family? And also, who is in the background? And they can't possibly all be supervillains, and the normal people in that crowd look horrified.
Yeah, they did. They looked horrified. And let's face it, there was a lot of horrifying things going on. The bloodied guards and the broken legs and the gun and poor Joshua talking about finger banging. Poor guy. But my favorite thing about this scene is just how well Harley played him. Like, she just knew the exact buttons to press. And that was just so much fun to watch.
That's very true. I think once you've come out of puberty, you know how it works well enough to be able to pinpoint. Like, that was the most fun thing about when my little brother was, getting older and growing up. He would say something or tell me something that wasn't true, and I'd just look at him, and I would, you can just tell in their voice, in their demeanor. It's like, kid, I have tried this same thing, and I know that you're lying. Kendra, what about you? How was the teen angst?
He was so valiant in it, though. Like, he was so ready to almost die for his right to have said that he finger banged this girl. It was wonderful to watch. Poor Harley. She keeps her calm throughout it all. But watching this kid internally combust, it was wonderful. Wonderful. And then, of course, he's trying to keep whatever he has, as sacred as he can. But, you've got your uncle, you've got all of the Legion of Doom here for a bar mitzvah. And this is the most exciting thing to have happened, is watching a kid with a gun say, yes, I did this.
Poor Miss Cobblepot. She's like, what? The one scene they show her face. I feel like that is exactly how my mother would have looked in the same situation. Just, what in the world is my son saying? Never mind the gun. No one seems concerned about the murder. They're all sweating it over the finger banging part.
Right, but it's more fuel to his fire, and that's what makes this scene so perfect, because here's his mom behind him just like, what did you say? In South Park just rings out that bus driver. What did you say? That's all that matters. That's all that matters at this point, is that her son has entered this puberty, and he's gonna die on this hill. That's the mountain he's gonna die
on. Seth, where did you fall on this? What was who in the crowd did you relate to? What did you take away?
The first thing I'm gonna come to is this poor little guy is staring at a woman who just beat up his entire caper. Like, the whole plan was for him to go in and, quote unquote, rob the mint of a, Gotham Chuckle Hut improv troupe, which she has dismantled. And now she's tied to a chair. You've got the gun. And she's going to go ahead and double down on the finger blasting that was brought up by his buddies over at the Joshua Finger Blasted Buddies table, which was just an awkward as all get out explanation of who those people were at that table. But then to come back around with her tied in the chair and double down on that was just unbelievable, especially when she starts making a point of saying, oh, you think finger blasting is awkward. By the way, I'd only heard it as a young guy, as a teenager, finger banging. So my colloquialism was already just all shot to shit when they got going with that. Because I was like, okay, finger blasting sounds so terrible. It just sounds like what are you doing to that person? Are you shooting them in some way? This sounds very unpleasant. And They're doubling down on the language. Are you sure? Are you sure that you finger blasted somebody? Are you sure you want to be this uncertain when it comes to a milestone? Like, I was like, wow, can you say it any more times? Really? The inside of my ears have not turned beet red yet. I was that person who was going, oh, Joshua, you should have just copped right from the beginning, man. The longer you fight it, like you said, Kelly, you can hear it in the voice. You know when someone younger is like, yeah, I can totally have some beer and smokes. Mom said it was cool. And you're like, okay, bro. Like, don't even fuck around with that shit right now. I love you, man. But some guy somewhere is going to pull your card on that, and it's just going to get really bad. So before you get into this routine of trying to bullshit your way through, just stop, man. Just stop, because you got. But what really wins it for me is the breakdown. When he like suddenly falls apart and screams, "This isn't what I wanted anyways." And, you know, we should have gotten him the dollhouse. We should have got, it's not a dollhouse. It's an action play set with real sounds. And that was probably, actually, I think I heard Young Bane right then. Why? Yeah. You know, there was like that, it's not a dollhouse. Like, there was just something god awful beautiful about that. But the way that she knew, like, oh, I'm someone who understands how the human brain works and how psyches work. Oh, did I hit a nerve center with finger blast? Beep, finger blast. Say it again. Hi, how's your triggered finger doing? How you doing? Umbrella getting it? Like, it was just so much about the idea of, oh, you don't like that when I flick your ear? Flick your ear. Flick your ear. Flick your ear. Steve, how about you, boss?
Everything you just said is like, everyone's had that kid that's their friend who just comes out with whoppers of lies just to either fit in or be part of the gang. And I'm glad that you also were confused by the whole finger blasting thing, because whenever I hear that, I just keep thinking of people pointing and going, pew, 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 pew. And I think, is that what you do in summer camp in America? What?
Sounds rather innocent.
Yeah, what the actual fuck? Why is he getting so embarrassed? But oh no, I just got my wires crossed, as I always do. Yes, that poor kid. And you feel for him, but you also think, stop telling lies, fucker. Then you'll be fine. Just be honest. Tell the truth. But yeah, Harley had his number, and that's the part of her I love, when she's not just kooky or crazy. She's a genius. She's a criminal psychologist, and I love her. But pew, 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 pew. What about you, Kelly?
Yeah, I think again, in this scene, I just kept seeing different lies my younger brother told me when he was in high school. I would come home from college and we'd sit and talk, and he would tell me something and I'd be like, you're lying about that. Like, once it was, I had a handle of vodka that I brought home with me, and I wasn't 21 yet, so I shouldn't have had it. But Daniel was like, yeah, I've drank. Mom and Dad let me have a sip every now and then. And I'm like, Daniel, Mom and Dad don't drink. Outside of church, they've never had alcohol in their lives. But he's like, yeah, no, like, Dad brought something home. It's just, I watched this and I'm like, oh, kid. It's such a hilarious takeaway. And I'm sure at some point when I was in high school, I've been the same type of liar. And actually, I can think of a good one when I was in maybe my junior year of high school. Me and my friends were staying out really late. We'd all just got our driver's license. So we would just drive around and do nothing till like 3:00 in the morning. So I called my parents once and said, hey, I'm going to be home really late. We're going to see a movie that starts at midnight. And I get home, my dad's sitting up and he's like, oh yeah, what movie did you see? How was it? And I added this one extra little detail to my lie. I said we were at a specific movie theater. My dad turns around and goes, that movie theater is closed, Kelly. And I spun out from there. I turned into Joshua with the, it wasn't that one. It was the one next to it. So I feel for Joshua. I really do.
That's one of those lovely moments when someone says, do you need a shovel? Do you?
Just digging your grave. That's why whenever I mess something up at work now, I'm the first person to say, yeah, it was me, because I've watched people dig their own graves and I'm like, look, I learned this lesson at 15. Just admit it. say whatever you did wrong. Or didn't do right. He didn't even start that lie, that poor kid. In either case, who would you guys say had the most frustrating night? And I would put it between Ivy and Harley, but there's probably some other characters, including Mrs. Cobblepot, who might be having a rough time. Brad, what do you think?
I think it's a tie between Harley and Ivy and Joshua. I mean, that was a pretty big event in his life that was kind of really went down the shitter quick. So I would say it's a tie between those three for sure.
Fair. Kendra?
I was going to say all of Joshua's friends, but they kind of got to Mac with Ivy, so that throws them off the table. So I'm going to have to say that I'm torn between Ivy and Harley, too. I mean, both of them really got some real good life lessons this episode. So,
Seth, what about you?
I'm torn, but, part of me thinks that actually through all of it, I think Kite-Man might have gotten it the worst. To start with, your plan is to poison kids. That's just like slap one, right? 2, then get naked in woman you've just met's apartment and make a play. And then strike out. Okay, so put your clothes back on, get mocked while flying her back to it, especially about how it's actually really beautiful up there when you just shut the fuck up. And then after he is tossed onto Penguin to, help break things up through a skylight, literally, then the only person he gets paired off in the big fight scene is against Bane. In fact, he even tries to go for the on-site coordinator. He's like, I got that bitch. I got it. I'm going to take her down.
So
Smackdown. And instead, you cut to, Bane, why are you screwing around with Kite-Man? He's like, why? He was antagonizing me. He was attacking me. And he's just like beating him up with his own hand, doing that, why are you hitting yourself thing? And as he's just smacking him around, I'm thinking, I don't think Kite-Man has insurance, 1, for the fall through the skylight, or 2, to everything that Bane's doing to him. So I'm going to go with that one. He had a rough night, and I'm pretty sure at the end of it, it's not like he got a number or something at the end of this episode. It's not like after all of his hard work or after looking like an idiot, she's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should go for a bite, and I can actually find out if you're a decent human being when you're not trying to take your clothes off. But yeah, he didn't even really get that. So you gotta feel. I feel for the guy. I feel for Kite-Man. He wasn't thinking. He continued to not think. Then he got hurt, continued to not think, and now is really just beaten up and probably hasn't figured out why he didn't think any of this through. Steve, how about you?
I was actually thinking about all of Joshua's friends, because poor kids were a step away from death and they were all got turned into plant creatures. But I have to be said that those kids actually probably really got wood after they were cured. But let's just get off that subject completely. And definitely poor old Kite-Man. Yeah, he had a shitty night, and poor old Joshua, bar mitzvah from hell. Yeah, I loved every character, and Mrs. Cobblepot, you're a saint. I love you. What about you, Kelly?
I think I have to say Ivy, on the grounds that she didn't want to do any of this to begin with. And I have been this friend who has been trying to, be there for somebody who's gone through a bad breakup, and you end up on this ridiculous harebrained scheme through, whatever town you're in, in my case, it was just going from bar to bar and the most ridiculous stuff, and my friend getting drunker and drunker, and me being like, I'm just here for support. But then you end up in some strange person's basement watching like Teletubbies on a VHS tape, and it's like, what am I doing? Why am I here?
Okay, so that happened to a few of us.
That's why I feel for Ivy, because it's, she just wanted to hang out with her friend, and now she's at a kid's bar mitzvah with a guy dressed like a kite chasing her around, who's naked in her bed. There's these poisoned kids. She has to kiss a bunch of 12-year-olds. And this is a shitty night. That sucks. That's the type of night where you get home and you just lay there in the dark for a minute, like, what am I doing? As a whole, as a person. and who are my friends. But that's what makes her so endearing, is she's such a good friend. Because I probably would have been out after this episode, honestly. I would have been like, you know what? I'm here for you. Text me. But I'm not going to any more bar mitzvahs.
Yeah. That's the thing about Ivy. She always gets roped into the schemes. Always. Right, like, it's like everyone's like, come on. You know what's going to happen. You're smart enough, but you still go along with it.
Has she had a second of fun in this show yet? I mean, not yet, but that's the other thing I want to look at as we go is, has Ivy had any fun yet?
I think deep down she's having a lot of fun, or she wouldn't keep going along with the schemes, because it's not like she's not strong enough to say no. So the thing is, like, deep down she's loving
it. That's fair. That's true. The deadpan people tend to hide really, really gung-ho underneath sides.
Well, and that's always been something that's always been fun with Ivy and Harley's relationship, is Harley is this spontaneous, go out and do it, balls to the wall, nobody cares, what happens, you only live once, yelling down with a gun. But Ivy has always been, very, very self-controlled, and I think that Harley helps Ivy live vicariously. It's supposed to be through Harley, but Harley drags her along, so there is no living through her. She's living with her. And I think that that's something really cool that this show brings to light, is you get to see both of them play off of it. And yes, Ivy will sit back and be like, are you kidding me? Or in terms of Kite-Man, when Harley says she doesn't want to do a scheme with you because you're stupid. And he's like, well, do you think that? And Ivy's like, well, don't you? I mean, they're just the perfect besties.
Yeah, I mean, that is a fantastic point. That's part of what makes Harley and Ivy so well matched, and that's part of what makes Kite-Man so doomed, because it's the Harley Ivy train cannot be stopped. And I'm really excited as we get into season 2 to sort of, see how else that develops. But as we close out with season 1, episode 2, what would you guys say the phrase, what sort of tagline sums up this episode for you? Brad?
I don't know if it's a tagline, but keeping in the whole Bane is my favorite character. I loved at the end when Harley and Ivy were talking, and says, "Oh, Bane said, you go, girl." No, he said, "Oh, Go-Gurt." And I could totally see Bane eating Go-Gurt.
Oh, Go-Gurt.
Wow, Seth, your Bane is on point.
Yeah, you got a pretty good Bane going on.
It's so, I don't know what it was. It spoke to me in the most righteous and soul-identifying ways. There was something just beautiful about it. Like, he's just that, whoa. It's just there, man. I can't explain it.
What was your tagline, Kendra?
Mine's a tie, and I'm trying really hard to remember exactly how he says it. But my first one I remember very vividly, and it's the opening of the episode, and all it is it's a coffee mug. And everyone that I know has a coffee mug that has some kind of life saying on it. But Bane's is life, because his is caffeine is my reckoning. And I don't know anyone who can't identify with that.
That is very true. Actually, I think the attention they put to the mugs in this show is worthy of praise in and of itself. Every mug is just adorable.
It is. They find the cutest things, and it's just like, you would never expect Bane to have this mug. It would be like, boom, blow it up, or something Call of Duty reference. But it's beautiful, because it's just caffeine is my reckoning. And you just see it coming.
What I want to know is, did someone buy it for him, or did he go out and purchase this himself? Like, was he in some little, souvenir store and went, yes, caffeine? Like, I'd love to know.
Some barista messed up his order, and that was payment for their life.
I won't blow you up if you give me that mug. Seth, what about you?
I think I'm going to have to go with actually something that Penguin said. My catchphrase, for this one is focused on the fact that this wasn't a bar mitzvah. This was a bank mitzvah. And there was something really lovely and wonderful about all these little phrases that were tossed in throughout it that just sort of gave it this extra layer of absurdity. When she's on the chair and they're like, no horror for Harley. And I was like, oh, okay. I love the fact that this is supposed to be a bar mitzvah that's also / a bank robbery, and in the end, it's a bank mitzvah that's not really any of those things. Joshua does not become a man, shirks away from his whatever duty is at that moment, drops the gun, doesn't get to rob the bank. I don't know where the good came out of it, but this thing was basically a clusterfuck, and for some reason, bank mitzvah or clusterfuck just seems to work really well for me on that one. So I think that's what I'm going for. Bank mitzvah, clusterfuck. I've spoken.
All right. Steve, what about you?
Oh, Kendra, thank you so much for bringing up the coffee mug, because I could just see it now. You're afraid of darkness? I begin my day with black coffee. Oh, wow. As for the episode itself, the only thing I can now think of to describe it, my tagline would have to be pew, 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 pew. That's all I've got. I'm so sorry. Oh, Kelly, please save me from myself.
This brought up a thought that I've had every time I've seen this episode. But Seth, when you said no horror for Harley, when I first saw this, I remember thinking, what made the DJ cue up the music when this started? It's not playing when they at what point did the DJ go, oh, now? But in any case,
at some point I'm pretty sure he's just a Gentile, and at that moment he was like, wait, they're lifting a chair, this is my cue, my cue, my cue, my cue, and everybody else.
I love those Bee Gees.
They're just all looking at him like, bro, no, wait for the cue. Right? Like, wait for the signal. Clearly. Nobody
did it 5 minutes before and was like, all right, when do you play it? When they lift up a chair. There we go.
Look, dude, when you see the put the chair up the air, that's your moment. That's your go-to. And then he's like, chair, 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 hit play.
Part of me that wants to believe Kite-Man told him to do that. That he asked Kite-Man, and Kite-Man was like, oh, yeah, when they lift the chair.
Bro, you don't know? Oh, wow. Okay, so, when they lift the chair, okay. You got this.
We could go all metaphysical and say, but was the music all in Harley's head the whole time?
Now that I kind of love.
I think my tagline would probably be Ivy, when she says, and we're off the rails. That's it. That is the whole. Brilliant. I mean, I feel like she had an idea of where Harley was going to take this whole thing, and then, nope, we're going to crash bar mitzvahs. It's a different attitude to villainy, I think. Very fun, weird. You're going to meet Kite-Man and have a bunch of 13-year-olds in love with you chained.
Hell yeah.
Well, and on that note, that brings us to the end of our second episode of Mad Love, the Harley Quinncast. I am Kelly Gaines, and it has been fucking lovely to be here with all of you and my fantastic co-hosts, Brad Filicky, Kendra Hale, Seth Singleton, and Steve J. Ray. If you would like to hear more from this crew, they are going to let you know where to find them, Brad.
You can find me writing news and reviews at DC Comics News. You can also hear me on our regular DC Comics News podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at FlickyB1.
Very nice. And Kendra, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Facebook, Kendra Hale. I also do reviews for Fantastic Universe's Dark Knight News. I can be found on Twitter and on Facebook, all of the lovely social webs. Just look for Kendra Hale. It'll tell you where to go.
Very nice. Seth?
Yeah, let's see. You can find written content from me on DC Comics News. You can find anything else I've written by typing my name, Seth Singleton, and go with the word story this time in a search engine. Let me know what you find. But if you just want to go ahead and share something, either crass, silly, whatever, on a quick response, go to Twitter. I'm one more Singleton. And yeah, you're probably going to want to know more about Steve. The man is everywhere. Right, Steve?
You can most frequently find me trying to dig my way out of Arkham with toothpicks. No, you can most easily find me by doing a search engine escapade by entering the words Steve J. Ray, and there you'll get links to all my news, reviews, and interviews, both on DC Comics News and Dark Knight News, or on the Twitter at elstevo, EL_STEEVO, or every fucking week with this bunch of fucking freaks on the Harley Quinn cast, or on the much more sensible DC Comics News podcast. And my split personality has said enough. Kelly.
You can find me doing opinion and editorial pieces for DC Comics News, also on our other podcast, the DC Comics News podcast, the one that you can let your children listen to, more or less. And you can find me on Twitter at KelGainesWrite. That's KelGainesWrite. So if you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe, comment. We'd love to hear from you guys. Let us know who you think Kite-Man can end up with, or if you had a bizarre pubescent memory from watching this episode.
Hell yeah.
And you can find Mad Love, the Harley Quinncast, as well as our main DC Comics News podcast and DC's other great podcasts on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Play. And if you want to follow DC Comics News, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and YouTube at DC Comics News. That's capital D, capital C, OMICS, capital NEWS. And there is one last thing we like to end our shows with, and we're going to try to do it as clearly as possible, and that is to remind you all to
read
more
comics.
Have a great fucking night, everybody.
Pew pew.
3, 2, 1.